All right, thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching NTV Weekend Edition. Now, President William Ruto's 20 million cash donation to a church in Eldoret today has intensified the debate of politicians' donations to churches, going back to the conversation that we've had previously. Just last week, the president donated yet another 20 million shillings. Today, youthful protesters tried to occupy the Jesus Winner Ministries Church in Roysambu. And of course, this is a debate that is not the first time that we're having here in the country. However, to unpack the latest drama, Dr. Alphonse Kanga, the NCCK chair of Nairobi region, is here with us, as well as Florence Kanyua, who is a social justice activist as well. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies, gentlemen, for that as well. Now, looking at the fact that President William Ruto indeed barred state officers from donating money to churches, and this came in the back of the June 25th protests, you know, he's already gone ahead and made significant donations last week in Roysambu, today in Eldoret. I'll begin with you, Dr. Kanga. What does this mean in terms of church-state ties?
I think what I can say at this time, thank God that I'm here this evening. As a team or as an NCCK, there are two issues that we need to address here. We need to approach this issue from different perspectives. Number one, we need to approach this issue on collaborative part of it and collective part of it. We need to collaborate. We need to collaborate and collectively approach this issue. Why? Because I don't think the issue here is about giving. The issue is about we as Kenyans. What's the issue in the midst of all this? Because the issue of giving, as far as the church and the mosque, is not a big issue. It is biblical. And if you study the scripture has something to say about this issue of giving. It has something to say. For example, the Old Testament talked about 10%. And the New Testament says, give cheerfully. And if you look at the example of the New Testament, they brought all what they had together in support of one another. So the giving is not the issue here. What is issue here this evening is the children have an issue. The youth have an issue. They are saying the church is ours, schools are ours, health system are ours, and now church and the state, since you work together as sisters and brothers for the betterment of humanity, can you tell us what's happening here? So the issue, let's get the issue out of, oh, it's about the church being given. It's about them asking for transparency. It's about them asking about accountability. The youth are asking about accountability. So
the NCCK's position is that politicians should not donate money to churches?
Politicians, non-politicians, medics, and members like her, they are members of the church. And our stand is, the scripture is so clear on how to give. Come, give us an offering. As far as we are concerned, we don't announce it. Come and give us offering for the blessings and to reach where the church to go on with her mission in different aspects of humanity. But when it comes to other things, there is also the issue of accountability. So the struggle here has nothing to do whether we should give or we should not give. Giving, everybody has a right to give. But now what the youth are talking about, the youth are talking about the source of the money. The youth are saying just one thing, as I've said. The church is ours because the youth are part of the church. The politicians are part of the church. So the youth are asking, the church is ours. Schools are ours. Health is ours. What's the transparency around this? That's the question. And that's what I'm saying. We need to approach this issue collectively and not only collaboratively, so that we may come up with an answer, so that we don't keep running to one another, fighting where there is no war, fighting an issue that is not there. What's the issue? The issue here, the youth are asking about transparency. The issue is saying, church, might you have given in? Church, might you have been taking money that the source is not so clear? That's what they are asking for. So we should not be asking one another, should the church be given money or should the church not be given money? Giving is part of worship in the church.
But if the question is, the question surrounding the source of the money, accountability, transparency on the source of the money, So then what's the final decision that churches should take?
No, we have, like we took a decision. The decision is give like anybody else. And since when you come, we don't ask you the source of money, but we are praying that you have integrity. We are praying that you are giving as per your faith system, because faith has told you that you are giving to God's work. Come and give to God's work like anybody else. And when you give with this hand, the left hand should not know. That's our stand. Okay,
Florence, when we're looking at that donation that was made, do you see this as a genuine act of faith or a political stand that, drags the church into state affairs?
According to me, that is not a genuine in giving as the faith is concerned. It is a way of wooing the churches to be put there on campaign trends, as he did when he came into power. If I am to be very clear, the mess we are in this moment in this country was brought in by the churches because they were blindfolded by the president, who is still taking the same trend. Now he has seen the ground is becoming hostile for him, and now he has started. The big question we ask is, if we Kenyan citizens have employed you, because we are his employers, because he is paid through our tax money, if we pay you 1.4 million, when do you get 20 million to donate in the church? And that is where there is a bone of contention, because there are so many scandals that have been unveiled, and we understand that is where the problem lies. So one, there is a lot of borrowing by the government of Kenya. What they do is they borrow, they steal, and we pay. That's what's happening. They borrow, they steal, and then we Kenyans pay. And that is why Kenyans are very, very much annoyed with this kind of giving. And as Dr. Kanga has said, the Bible is clear. When your right hand gives, the left hand should not know what you give. But you see what he does? He goes to the church and say, I have donated this much. Today he donated another 20 million. And I want Mr. President to know that even that church that he donated, it is going to be occupied.
Is that
something? It is a luta continua.
So let me ask you, when the president says that, look, these donations are a service to God, for, this is what he intends to do, as not just the president of Kenya, but from his own goodwill. So what does this mean then?
There is nothing like goodwill here. It is Kenyans' money that he has stolen, that is squandering through donations to Christians to come and vote for him. And
I don't want to say that one has stolen or is not goodwill. What we are saying is this: the youth are not questioning the issue of giving. Giving is spiritual, but the issue is here is that they are saying, let's find out what the issue is. For example, what happened in the church today at Kasarani. I don't think there is what we call freedom of worship. If there is freedom of worship in the constitution and is godly, everyone was allowed to go to the church. But now what I cannot understand is, how do they know who was not going to worship? These youth that were being chased around, did they go with a particular uniform to show that they are not worshippers? So that's why I'm saying this issue must be approached collectively and collaboratively for the church and the state to work together, so that we are assured that we don't misguide or mislead Kenyans on this issue of giving.
But even aside from the issue of donations, Daktari, I mean, today dozens of youth were arrested in Roysambu. Many others were harmed during the confrontation between police and the young people for trying to storm, the Jesus Winner Ministry Church. Just what does it say about the public frustration with the political institutions in our country?
Actually, that's not where we are. Let's not pull the church into the political structures. I said what the youth are saying is that the church is ours, schools are ours, health system is ours. If these are the issues that we are facing in the country, let the church and the state sit together and find the answer to this. Let the state listen to the church, and let the church listen to the state. Let them work together as sisters so that we can get solutions on the issue affecting the country. Okay. Surely the issue here is not giving.
Dr. Kanga, there is an issue in giving, as I have said. Giving is allowed.
Yes.
But as you have said personally here, is that when you give, the right hand should not know what you give. When the right hand gives, the left should not know. That is where there is a bone of contention, because what is being given is being marketed. You see, in the church, when you give, if you are giving an offertory, you just give an offertory and go. You don't stand there to announce.
So in your perspective, the issue is the president standing out to say, look, I have given publicly, I have given out 20 million shillings, but not necessarily the source of the funds, or where does it lie?
The source of the fund and how he gives it.
So
because that is trying to brainwash the people so that he can put them in another trap. We are not ready to be put in another trap through donations, through the church. We cannot. And I'm telling you, Dr. Kanga, I am also a Christian. I need to clarify that. I am also a Christian, and I don't appreciate what the president is doing through squandering the money of this country. Because as I said earlier, money is borrowed, it is stolen, and I am not ashamed to say it is stolen. It is stolen, and then the taxpayers are the ones who are paying.
But how are you able then to substantiate that the money that the president has donated is money that has been stolen from the public coffers?
First and foremost, I said the president of this nation salary is how much? 1.4.
Yeah.
That is the salary that he is supposed to be earning as a civil servant of this country. So when he keep giving 20 million, there is another church that was given 120. Today he gave another 20 million in Eldoret. Where does that money come from?
He sells Kumawiki. He has other things he does.
Well,
but the question is, as I'm saying, please let this thing not be an individual. It's a society issue. It's an issue we need to deal with as a society, to ask ourselves, is there moral integrity of what's happening in the church right now? Is it possible that we can give without potential strings attached? If we give without potential strings attached, the giving becomes normal.
Yes. I want you to hold on to that thought, Dr. I want us to take a very short break here on NTV Weekend Edition. We will be back and we'll be continuing with this conversation. Stay with us. You're watching NTV Weekend Edition. All right, thank you for staying with us. You're watching NTV Weekend Edition. In studio with Dr. Alphonse Kanga, I beg your pardon, is the NCCK chairperson of Nairobi region, as well as Florence Kanyo, who's an human rights defender, also a social activist. But just looking at the conversation that has been surrounding the donations by President William Ruto to churches, I'll go back to you, Dr. Kanga. How would you respond to when the president says he'll keep helping the church in order to shame critics, and also framing the rejection of these donations as being anti-God?
As far as I'm concerned, there is something we call freedom of worship. The president, as a Christian, has a right to worship, and giving is part of worship within the Christian liturgy. So how do I respond on this issue? To me, he's right in his own perspective, because he has a right to worship where he wants as a Christian in any church. But what the youth are asking and what Kenyans are asking, let's not focus on the issue of giving. Let us ask ourselves, what is the issue? What is eating Kenya? Is it really that giving? What's eating Kenyans here? It is can we hold each other into account? Not only holding each other into account, do we have an ethical viper in what we are doing? Do we have the value system in what we are doing? So what's the issue here? The issue here is the ethical viper, is the value system, and that's why most people are saying, not only the president, all of us, as we give, and it's not about giving alone. There are other things we do. As I said, as we give, where is our health system? As we give, where is our education system? As we give, what about that Kenyan from somewhere? I saw it yesterday on your sister TV. That Kenyan from Lamu. This time she's feeding on dry leaves. Can we come together and agree a way out?
So from hearing what you're saying, there's certainly massive public distrust. Right?
Yes, that's
we agree on that.
That's where the issue is.
So then, would it be that in unison, rejecting these political donations could somehow regain that public distrust that is already there?
We are not rejecting donation from any Kenyan. If you are Christian, there is nobody who is formed here, politician. Politician is a Christian. If he's an Anglican, he's an Anglican. If he's a Presbyterian, he's a Presbyterian. He cannot come in the church as a president. He comes to church as an Anglican, as a Presbyterian, as a Christian, as a saved, reformed Christian. He walks in that capacity. And so when he's there, the only thing is that he gives with this hand, as the scripture declares, without this hand knowing, and that money goes to the mission, and the church will still use the same money either to go for mission in Lamu, to go for mission in Kehanja, to go for mission in Busia as they preach the gospel, or build that congregation. That's not a big issue. So the issue is, let's not concentrate on the issue, should they give or should they not give? Giving, they should give, but give within the lines, the systems of the structures of the church, which is not giving as a political interest, not giving with the strings attached, giving as you give to God with the left, not the right hand knowing, and then as a worship service. Yeah.
Ms. Florence, it's a big issue because it's suddenly a huge distrust.
It is a big issue.
But just to buttress my point is, we saw the young people trying to storm the church in Roysambu. But human rights aside, did the youth have it coming for targeting the church, or are they actually victims of a system that has ignored them time and time again?
They have been ignored from time to time. And I want to say, first thing before I go to how the young people have been ignored by the leadership of this country, I want to speak something about the church that the youth went to today. One, I want to say it clearly here that Pastor Mwai is a criminal. Why am I saying he is a criminal?
That's a serious allegation.
Yes, for me, I'm saying it without wavering. He's a serious criminal because what he did today, he hired goons. I want you to note that, Dr. Kanga. He hired goons, and the goons were beating people while they were being supervised by the police. The police today arrested people. What the police did that was good is that after they arrested the young people, they didn't keep them the way they keep them for a longer period. So but there are some police officers who also brutalized the young people who are attending the service. There are some 2 young men that we don't know where they are even as we speak.
So do you have...
who are put in a GSU lorry. But the moment I was preparing to come, I was in hospital with the people who were seriously injured. And they were being clubbed, they were being stepped on by thugs that were ironed by the church.
How would you be able to substantiate that it is actually the church that hired people to beat
because
the young people who went
why
to
will I say so? When people were entering the church, their ushers were checking on people entering. Unfortunately for them, people didn't have any uniform showing that you are coming to occupy the church or you are a usual worshiper.
What were they checking?
They were just checking people, the faces, and if they have suspicious face, they would pull them aside. And while the service was going on, some people were pulled from the church, and they were taken in a separate room where they were being beaten. So that's why I'm saying Pastor Mwai is a criminal, and we are going to take a serious action against him. We must meet in court with him.
But allow me to just still ask you this question, because this is a very serious allegation that you are leveling against Pastor Mwai. How would you be able to truly substantiate these particular claims? Because, you know, it is out of, like, it's wild.
There is a video clip you just played there where people were being stepped on. If you saw that one, some of the goons were given the uniform for the ushers. That's what they did.
That's why I'm saying that this issue...
That's what they did.
I'll not sit here and accuse people for being whatever they are, because criminals are supposed to be in a committee. But I'll not accuse a pastor for this and that. Man, that's why we are saying these things are going out of hand. And the best thing for you to do is to look at issues. Let's not look at the money being given. Let's look at what is the precipitating factor. What's the real issue here? And the real issue here, again, is we are Kenyans. We belong to the churches. Our schools have issues. Our education system has issues. Our health system has issues. The university funding has issues. Can we deal with those issues? And then we sit as Kenyans, have a forum as Kenyans, and agree. How are we going to deal with this? Because what she is talking is out of anger. And I'm telling you, those young people are also angry. Even what happened today is not acceptable. So how do we come out of this? We come out of this by, number one, we as Christians is prayer. Number two, use our brain collectively, find out exactly what is the issue here. The issue here, as I've said, it is transparency, it's integrity, it is ethical. It's an ethical issue. There is a value system issue that's being questioned by all Kenyans. How do you deal with it? Let's have a round table. Because we are going to accuse one another, and everybody will be annoyed, and the other one will be annoyed. But the churches also, we have a responsibility to investigate ourselves.
Dr. Kanga, I want to respond to this. I am not talking out of anger. I'm talking because of what I witnessed. Because of what I witnessed.
So you went to in Kasarani today?
People were being clobbered and stepped on by people who were hired. And the police were there. And the other thing I want to ask, if Pastor Moi is a God-fearing person, why was he not there to welcome everybody? Because there is nobody who went there with a rungu, with any weapon, and receive them and preach to them. If he is a genuine preacher, I'm sorry to say, if when the activists go out for demonstration, the only weapon they carry is this, the flag of Kenya. But they didn't even have these flags. They could not even identify them with this flag. I just picked this because I was called to come for this talk show. That's why I came with this to show. This is the only weapon that the youth, any activist, goes out with when he is going for a demonstration.
So and let me ask you, what is the end game, do you think, then, with these political donations? Is it perhaps voter influence with the election on the horizon? What could it be?
Of course it is. He is trying to entice people so that after failing to fulfill the promises that he gave, he can still woo them and brainwash the church again through donations. But there is no amount of donation that is going to redeem Ruto. I am saying that there is no amount of donations that will redeem him. Even after he merged his party with the Raila Odinga ODM party, I don't think that will redeem him, because he has failed totally. And the people are angry because of what he promised, and he has not done it. How can you be donating 20 million, 120 million to churches, yet so many things are not done? There are so many stone projects that he promised that will be done within 3 months, within 6 months, within what, and he has not done any of them. Okay. It is even a big shame that the projects that are given to some people even to construct something like airport, it is a shame. Now that it is raining, if you go to airport, you find it raining.
Okay, Doctor.
The roads, the schools, in its own region, Rift Valley, people are standing under trees. And then you are telling people, I'm giving because I'm giving. Yet you cannot handle the most essential things for Kenyans.
Okay. So, Dr. Your final thoughts on this particular matter. So then, what is the final take? I mean, what should be done? Because this is a conversation we've had. We've had this conversation for many years now.
Kenyans are asking for transparency. Kenyans are asking for ethics and asking and encouraging ethical leadership. And we need to have a forum as Kenyans and ask ourselves, let the church also come together and agree on the next course of action so that the church does not become as an excuse of things not to be done right. The church should not become an excuse. Those who are Christians, all the churches have procedures. So those who are giving, let them go to their church and give us a procedure of those churches. But as far as we are concerned within our system, within our fellowship of churches, we say, please come and give. Don't announce to the left and right as per the scripture declares.
Yes, Florence, very quickly, do you think the church, when they continue accepting these checks and cashing in these checks, are they complicit in the long run?
If they continue accepting, they will bring a serious problem. Because now that Pastor Mwai today did what he did, the people are saying they are going to visit him again and again. And
do you think that's the right way to handle that matter?
No.
It may not be right way to handle the matter according to Dr. Kanga, but according to the people, they feel when they keep disrupting what they are doing, it is a way of stopping it. Because if they keep doing so, even those who are giving and announcing and chest dumping, because I've seen him chest dumping here that I will continue giving because of blah, blah, blah. But people are going to agitate and they will occupy those churches. It will continue. So what I wanted to tell Dr. Kanga,
very quickly, yes,
is that if they can decide that if just donations are given and being announced should not be accepted. I want to applaud my cardinal who said that donation should be taken back to whoever gave it. You saw it happen. Cardinal Anyolo did that. But these other churches are just cheering. They have been given money. They don't even want to know where this money came from.
All right.
So I appreciate the Catholic Church for setting a good example by not accepting those donations.
Okay.
Because these donations, they are not, there is no accountability. Where is this huge money is coming from? Because we have so many scandals in this country. We have a very high rate of borrowing. Yet the money is borrowed to do some project, but instead of doing the project, the money is stolen.
All right, thank you, Florence.
You
are a human rights defender, social justice activist, and Dr. Alphonse Kanga, NCCK Chair, Nairobi Region. Thank you so much for coming in and having this conversation.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a short break here on NTV Weekend Edition. We're going to be back with a sporting action.